Windows XP. 2B76Q8. 2B76Q8. Huh?
I'm sure a lot of you have seen this video by Dirty Civilian's channel and were very intrigued in getting this so-called off-grid internet. And while the product is cool, it isn't $300.
Oh my gosh, everything will uninstall. Just kidding. Well, not really. It depends on how much you take. Folks, members of the medical community, such as myself, spend our entire lives fighting misinformation. People are so confused about things, people make up their own narratives about things. This is not one of those cases. The general public, for the most part, seems to be pretty well educated on this particular topic. Of course, what we're talking about here today is acetaminophen and its effect on the liver and how it's dangerous. Nevertheless, education today, because as there's a lot of liver treatment. Today, what we're just going to be talking about the safety of acetaminophen is a lot of people call it an NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. It's its own weird little thing, and it has properties that are very similar to the NSAIDs, though. It can be used to lower fever, and it's really good for treating muscle-related pain. It can also help with headaches as well, but headaches are kind of weird. Some people will get relief from some will not. One of the weird parts about acetaminophen is how many different dosage forms it comes in. I have a tablet here. This is a immediate release tablet, which is, in this case, 500 milligrams. But it also comes in 325 milligrams immediate release tablet. I'll move over so I can put some things on the screen. It comes in a 650 milligram extended release. It comes in liquid. And I actually have one of the new liquids here today, Pain Quill. This has alcohol in it. We'll talk about that, don't worry. It comes as an injection, although you would never prescribe this. If any prescribers are watching this, don't do that. there's no reason. Why? Because it also comes in a suppository, and it's equally as effective. The injection is really expensive for no reason. The brand name I just showed you on there is Painquill for one of the liquids, but Tylenol is the one everybody thinks of. And our friends across the pond in Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry would call this paracetamol. I actually have some paracetamol, I think. Hey, I found this. One of the things I never really understood in America, you would say the chemical is called acetaminophen. The brand name is called Tylenol. But apparently over in Europe, it's paracetamol for both. I don't know, that always confused me. Anyway, all these names I found out recently have to do with the chemical structure name of the molecule. Where you can see how you can get paracetamol from that, acetaminophen, and I don't know what else found in this one. This is a really good chemical. I love it. I use it for muscle pain myself, but it does have some baggage. It is dangerous. In fact, so much so, if you look at the back of any of these packages I just showed you, it will say there's a limit of 4,000 milligrams, 4 grams a day. The reason being, we don't want to get too much of it because it's well documented. In fact, we know step by step how the toxicity even happens because it's so common. So much so that the second leading cause of a liver transplant is due to acetaminophen toxicity. And half of those are unintentional. Another reason being is because there's lots of medications that contain acetaminophen, but people don't realize it. For example, Norco contains hydrocodone, Ultraset contains tramadol, acetaminophen, Percocet, oxycodone, acetaminophen. And if folks are taking these medications and they also add their own over-the-counter Tylenol on top of that, well, they could put themselves at risk for liver toxicity. So how much do you actually have to take to experience some of these toxic side effects? Well, about 7.5 grams all at once, or 12 grams per day. Timing is important here. And once I explain between 24 and 72 hours. The results in the lab work would be bad, but the patient might feel better, actually. Additionally, they could have some upper right quadrant. At this stage, you might also see some issues with blood clotting. Now, at stage 3, 72 to 96 hours, the blood levels will be off the charts. People become jaundiced, their skin will be yellow, or the sclera in their eyes, confusion, hyperammonemia, muscle pain, or arrhythmia. It can even cause kidney dysfunction as well. That'll make sense here in a minute. The fourth stage would be after 96 hours. If they make it that long, they would actually start to recover. Typically begins at day 4 and ends at day 6. So what the heck is going on here? Why does this happen? Well, whenever you take acetaminophen, it goes into your body and it's transformed in the liver to several different things. About 8% of the acetaminophen that you ingest is transformed into NAPQ. NAPQ is bad. It's toxic. It'll scar your liver and it'll cause it to shut down. The liver first takes the acetaminophen and turns it into NAPQ. And then that NAPQ is turned into these inactive metabolites that just get excreted through the urine. But if you take a much larger dose, the process gets backed up. It's like a traffic jam, or I guess like a toll would be a more appropriate analogy. You got all these cars trying to come through the toll, and there's only one toll worker. There's not so many cars they can manage. But if you're taking a huge dose and you put a whole bunch of cars through this one poor little toll worker, they're not going to be able to get everybody through. Pretty soon some people will get disgruntled and they'll I guess, just turn into NAPKey. They become violent and malicious, I guess, as you could say. They get so mad because they're sitting in traffic. I don't know. So once NAPKey starts building up, it's bad news bears. But there's an antidote. Someone insert an anecdote pun right there, please. There's this thing called NAC, or N-acetylcysteine. What this does is it provides chemicals that the liver needs to continue this transformation from NAPKey into the inactive metabolites. NAC comes in and it's like you just got several more toll workers into this toll station and they're all handing out tickets and taking money and just slinging everybody through the tolls so quickly because now they have all this extra help. This is so well documented that we actually have a chart. Take a look at this. This is the Ruback-Matthew monogram, by the way, so you can see. And on the x-axis we have time after ingestion. And on the y-axis you have the blood levels of acetaminophen. So you literally just look at the numbers, draw a lab, see what the acetaminophen level is, and relative to the time after ingestion, the point is above this black line, then you have to give it back. Notice the clock doesn't start until 4 hours after. Sometimes I've heard, why don't we just sell? And acetaminophen. Two of the most common pain. Bump your toe against something, or perhaps you sprain your elbow while lifting weights. I do that a lot, actually. Or even gout. Gout is treated by any NSAID, and ibuprofen is an NSAID. Gout, by the way, is a buildup of uric acid, and it typically happens in the toe. It's kind of like you form crystals in your toe, and it gets really inflamed. The way this works is it inhibits an enzyme called COX, and it stops the whole inflammation cascade. Inflammation is generally good, but sometimes your body overreacts and it isn't pleasant. Acetaminophen, on the other hand, is not an NSAID. It kind of works in a similar way, although science is kind of iffy on how it actually does work. But this is great for muscle pain. So if you sprain your back, which I happen to do all the time, being very lanky, and sometimes you tear a muscle or hurt a muscle in your average everyday work, and this really helps with that. I use this a lot, and it helps very well. It is worth noting that Dollar Tree does have a liquid version of acetaminophen, but not a liquid version of ibuprofen. A liquid version of ibuprofen does exist and is quite cost effective at Walmart, for example. I've had this before. It doesn't taste the best, but it's not really bad either, and actually this is actually the best value you can ever find for an acetaminophen liquid. I don't know how they do it. This is incredibly cheap. For $1.25, you get 4 floral ounces. Both of these, ibuprofen and acetaminophen, are great for treating fever. I can't form an opinion on it myself. They seem to be equally as effective. Take whichever one you like. A lot of people use both. They'll flip back and forth, which does have its advantages, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But generally speaking, it's not recommended because the advantage you gain from doing that is not really worth how complicated it can be. But if you're like a nurse or a trained professional and you want to do it, there's no harm in it. Ibuprofen, because of its mechanism of action, can cause issues with bleeding, but particularly in the stomach. It also can cause issues with damaging the kidney. Acetaminophen can cause issues with liver toxicity. That's why there's a limit of 3,000 to 4,000 milligrams per day, depending on who you ask. And here is why people will use them both for fever. They don't want to go over the 3,000 or 4,000 milligram limit of acetaminophen. For topical pain, like maybe your skin kind of hurts, they do make patches at Dollar Tree. I have here with me a menthol 5% patch. They also have a lidocaine patch at times. These are okay options. A lot of the topical creams they have there for pain just really don't work.
Ow, ow,
And
ow, 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 ow.
whenever you absorb something into your bloodstream, it's going to have a much greater effect. Applying something topically isn't going to be absorbed, not to any meaningful extent anyway. Additionally, a lot of people were surprised to learn that these menthol patches and the lidocaine patches can be cut. You can split them and put them on different parts of the body if you want. For pain in the mouth, if you have a cut or an ulcer or something, the best product at Dollar Tree is this benzocaine 20%. You will never find a better deal at any other store or any other supplier. This is like an $8 or $9, probably even $10 tube anywhere else. It's only $1.25 at Dollar Tree. The way this works is it kind of numbs the area, so you have to apply it a lot, unfortunately. That's one of the drawbacks. But I love this product. I use it all the time. And down here we have very common medication, antacid. So the way these works is by neutralizing the acid in the stomach. Let's take a closer look. Upset stomach and diarrhea and constipation. There's lots of reason why someone would need an over-the-counter assisting medication for their GI tract. Thankfully, Dollar Tree's got you covered. One of the best products I've seen is for people who have heartburn, which is a buildup of stomach acid in the stomach, and it kind of causes an unwelcome feeling. Just a simple antacid tablet. These would be comparable to like Tums, 500 milligram of calcium carbonate. And the way this does is what this does is it neutralizes the stomach acid and brings the pH up, not down, up. Remember, it's reversed. So we want to increase the pH so that increases the soothing effect. Now, I've tried this antacid before. 500 milligram is okay. I prefer a much heftier dose, so I would take 2 of these. You're allowed to take 2. These taste fine. They break apart easy. I use these, and I think they're a great product. For folks who need help going to the bathroom, this is probably the best product I've tried. This is Bizicotal 5 milligram tablets. What's interesting about this is one of the few meds that actually gets absorbed at the end of the GI tract. And I can tell you from experience, folks, it works. If anyone is very astute, you will notice it doesn't say enterically coated anywhere on this package, but I did check with the prescribing information. It is enterically coated. It has to be so it gets to the end of the GI tract, or else it would get destroyed prior. The most important thing, at least in my opinion, when selecting laxative is how quickly it works. It says 6 to 12 hours, and I can confirm that it probably doesn't even take 6. I can't believe I took this one time, but I did. There's also this milk of magnesia you can buy at the Dollar Tree, but it's like $5, so it's not really a traditional Dollar Tree medication. It works well, but it kind of made my tummy upset, so I'm kind of leaving it off the list, but it's an honorable mention. They also have famotidine, which helps decrease the acid in the stomach, but the dosage at the Dollar Tree is only 10 milligrams, and I don't know. And whenever you try the cost of it, it's just not a good deal, so I let that off the list as well. Simethicone is also a very safe medication. A lot of people kind of get this confused. It says on here anticoagulant. Okay, it's not going to help gas coming out down there. It's gas coming up out here. It helps burps basically. And this is very safe. It's an 80 milligram chewable tablet. If you chew one, and you're going to feel the gas come out of you. It's mint flavored, which I wasn't really excited to try, but it actually wasn't too bad. There's so many different options for allergies, it can become overwhelming. Here's the mainstay, Cetirizine, 10 milligram. We'll take a look at this in some more detail. Allergies can actually be treated with Dollar Tree medication, believe it or not. They have is a first generation antihistamine that helps with like runny nose, itchiness, and things of that nature. And they also have other second generation antihistamines. So this is what I learned from the street. This is probably the one you're going to want to get. Cetirizine 10 milligram. Now this is a second generation antihistamine, which means it has less than the anticoagulant effect. And so what did you think of that intro? Pretty cool, right? But yes, you did read the title correctly. I have made a keylogger. No, hold your applause. For those of you who are uninformed, a keylogger is a program that records every keystroke made by a user, usually with the intention of stealing sensitive information like passwords. Now, before we get into the why and the how, we need to address something first.
I love you more.
Visuals are trash. It's just
I see you
subtitles in a
playing
white background.
Skyrim.
Fear
I
not,
am-
Release
that's
the
where our
picture.
special guest comes in.
Notification
Say
set on
hello.
YouTube.
I'm not playing Skyrim anymore.
Okay, now Jared, say hi.
Oh,
I'm setting up the virtual machine for the, I'm gonna play a game that I got for $1 from the flea market.
I don't know. She kind of sucks.
oh nice.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's
I'm sorry.
It's a 2007 game called Hostage Rescue.
Nice.
Apparently there's like a recreation of the Iranian embassy siege.
This project involved needing
That's
to
crazy.
Wait.
The embassy in which country?
London.
How do I make this?
Oh right,
That
yeah.
one is gonna take a little
I had never heard of it before, but that's what ChatGPT brought up when I fucking when I asked for information about the game.
computer is likely vulnerable to this program.
Yeah,
So I won't
interesting.
just tell you how awesome and cool this is, even though it is really awesome and cool. I'll also be touching on how you can protect yourself against something like this. The other project I mentioned earlier was made in Python, so I figured I should use Python for this one too. No, Jared, not that type of Python, the programming language. Where did you even get that from? Whatever. Okay, so that's cool and all, but how do we monitor keystrokes? Well, we're just going to use the same library that I use for my other projects, PyInput. Jared, can you go through the code ring? Alright, thank you. So let's go through my first iteration of this keylogger. Skipping past the functions for a second, this is the listener. This basically just says that when a key is pressed, it will trigger the on press.
The 1980 Notably, one mission recreates the infamous 1980 Iranian embassy siege in London.
The reason we need this is because keys like backspace have the name attribute but not the char attribute, whereas it's opposite for something like the A key, which has a char attribute but not a name attribute. For our needs, that being a name can associate with keys. So this track set block just simply gets a name for whatever key was pressed. This next line creates a string that will be saved to our output file. And this final portion of the function is what actually logs the key press. First, we set the file path where we want it to be saved. I do the local user directory under an extension file.
What? What?
I was using my Xbox and I was going to wonder how
Oh.
to switch buttons. Your butt is right in line, but it's not marked on my headset.
Oh.
So it turns out that hotkeys like Control C register differently than how you expect them to. So instead of your output looking like this, it ends up looking like this. As much as I'd love to tell you this fix, yeah, it was not. I scoured the internet for hours trying to find a library that would fix this for me, but in the end, I just had to do it myself. So I went through manually inputting every possible hotkey I could and taking no
I'm
limits
gonna
of
work
work
on
out.
getting more specialist kills.
Are you curious about Kali? It sure is dark and scary out here. It's not a full moon, it's not a third moon. See that? Today.
Specialists.
My Windows XP installs at 69%
Today, we are out in the middle of the woods.
W.
I want to check out something I saw.
Nice.
What do I feel like? I don't like waiting for it. We have this very, very rugged recreational trail. We are probably heavily used. ATV trail. What I'm seeing here on Google Maps where I just parked seems like it's probably only going to be a 5-minute walk. I'm just light right now. Out on lower. From here, the distance is the full. It's tons of frogs. Tiny little sand. Literally yeah, look. Big rocks over there. Literally have rocks coming across the road. Is it cold in here? But look, there's a massive pile of rocks taller than me blocking this road going to a little gravel bridge. So I saw this thing on maps, and I knew before I got here it wasn't the Beaver Lodge, but you know, from these satellite images, it kind of looks like a Beaver Lodge, doesn't it?
frogs around me. They're pretty far away. We were out actually clogging the culvert tonight. It was being clogged by muskrats. I left my camera out there. I didn't have a trail camera. All my trail cameras were out in the field. So we just left the regular camera out there. While we sat in the truck for a while. It took 20 minutes. The muskrat showed back up and blocked it. Within 40 minutes. Then when I go out there to check on it, the tripod's laying down, the camera broke off it. It's in the water. Hopefully it's waterproof camera. Nothing should be wrong. But I cannot tell if the muskrat knocked over the camera or if it was the wind. It was a little bit breezy. Maybe that knocked over the camera. It was a muskrat. I really don't know. In the footage, the muskrat never got out of the water once. The water's crystal clear. You can see a big debris coming over. You can't barely see the muskrat because it's darker water. I mean, the bottom of the water's dark. It's crystal clear on us, but the muskrat's also brown as well as the water. All you see is the pile of beige grass or tan colored grass against the back of the ground. It's black, so all you see is the big pile of debris coming over, making the shiver in its eyes. I didn't see it get out of the water once. 50% chance. Did it knock over the camera? Or sometimes they run away from you. Sometimes they stay on the ground and start walking towards you and pulls up. You gotta be careful. They can get away. This area always has I don't looking thing? Could it have not been a pile? Could it have been are we out here looking for a bush? Let me confirm. Let's see if we're standing in it. When I look at Google Maps right now, no, we're standing. I don't think it's flooded anymore. Maybe that satellite image was taken after a really heavy rainstorm.
Yeah.
Right after the spring thaw, while the ground was still frozen. Look at that again. I didn't take notice of that overhead image is summer or winter. Now we're going to come over here because this island with this big tree, like, that means it was in winter. That means it was definitely in the winter. If this is what this is. This big island here. Right over here. Let's look at the map again. I set myself on a wild goose chase. Yep, we came out here just looking for a big aspen tree.
I'm not sure.
Really big triple aspen tree with a couple little ones around it.
Oh, okay.
It's embarrassing. It seriously looked like it looks like a beaver swamp, but it's a wild goose chase. It's just something I saw in the middle of the night, so I decided to drive out here and look at it. It's really late at night.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that little island over there. Right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
See, it's got like this nice ramp over here. So I guess maybe it's not even a gravel pit. I don't even know what this is in the woods. I don't even know what this is. Honestly, but it's blocked off. Maybe it could have flooded. See this border around here? This looks like it could potentially hold water, but it may have just been the color of the gravel with a bunch of muddy holes. So let's see if this is the other one. Yep. How embarrassing. One of the biggest things that drove me out here today was it's frog season. I honestly thought, hey, if there's a big flooded area here, there's going to be a lot of frogs at this time. It's mating season. Wood frogs, tree frogs, gray ant-peepers, both of those tree frogs. But no, we come out here and it's just two islands of trees and the right colored gravel to look like water on a blurry Google map. How embarrassing. See some dirt bike tracks too. Not heavily used, but it rained all week. It's a weekday. I bet there's a lot more tracks here tomorrow. Saturday. It's finally some nice dry sunny out here. Looks like this. Someone drove an ATV through here since it stopped raining. I bet you the end of the road they blocked that off. Stop the kids from coming out here and having fun. I don't know why. Look it up online. This is now public land, former railroad property, because it was a gravel pit for the railroad, but I don't think this is flat enough for the railroad, but where we started walking, where we just parked, that's a railroad grade. This might be flat enough for a train to come up here. Maybe. Maybe this was an entire train line, because this does go through very, very far. Honestly, yeah. I think this is a railroad track. I think this is an old railroad track. Yep, this is a railroad track. Pretty cool explorer. Definitely not what we expected. I think this was a railroad track going up to some gravel pit. Who knows? Maybe it wasn't even a gravel pit. It's a gravel lot right now. Not even a pit. Sometimes you just see something on Google Maps and you get the urge to figure out what it is. So, we have a bunch of ATVs made their own trail through the woods after somebody tried to block it off. And honestly, I don't even know why they blocked it off. Where we park, that's literally an old railroad grade. frogs right now. There's a bunch of swamp area. Got me getting a little park, but I don't care. Still a fun adventure. Mostly frogs, quietness. Not even me. I don't know. Yeah, can't go running until I get back to the truck because that's how you keep Bigfoot away. Bigfoot is very rarely ever caught on camera. Bigfoot only shows up if you have a camera with it. See what I keep doing. And then this flashlight keeps unscrewing on. Why are you hanging it right here? Well, screw that. That's where the charger is. Why couldn't they have it's not waterproof. Why couldn't they have a bracket connected to something that solves that screw? So many occasions I could have accidentally dropped a super expensive flashlight into water or completely outright lost it. I don't know why they have them put together the way they do. They should be connected to something else that cannot come off. And you see how I have a heat chamber? The metal quality is not even great. There was a little bit of strain on that and it really snapped. Because they made it out of a metal that is, what's the word for it? Well, it's super brittle. It doesn't bend, it snaps. They shouldn't have built it out of something like that. They should have made it out of something a little in between that at least has some kind of play. The people who buy these are people that go urban exploring, go in caves and things. Of course they're gonna, have issues like that. We made back to the truck. Yeah, look at this rugged terrain the ATVs went through. I bet this started as trees. Someone just probably took a chainsaw through here. It only probably took them a little bit of time, and they made it. Just watching everyone. Have a great night. Back to the main railroad grade, and it's still. Oh, someone's coming right now. Another ATV or someone. Put in the windshield for a minute, see who that is. This is burning hot. I can't put that in there. No, never mind. That guy turned around. The guy didn't come out this far. I don't know why. It's not an ATV, it's not a truck. Hello. We're back here for a minute.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna have to leave for a little bit to cook dinner, but
Okay.
I will be back after dinner.
Hey everyone, welcome to
Okay.
part 2. If you saw yesterday's video,
I love you.
we drove down this road, we had clogged two really big culverts.
Talk to you later.
They had a blockage in front of them, and then the small stream eroded a bunch of sand and rocks. It completely
After I come back, do you want to maybe play some No Man's Sky?
Once we started
Sure.
clogging, it quickly eroded all the sand.
Yay.
Lots of
Yay.
rocks tumbled into it. It was
We've
really
been
fun.
exploring the universe too.
Uh-huh.
We want to see like all the different things. See,
Mhm.
I want you to like start to learn like about the world. It's really interesting.
Mhm.
I really like as well like how this is kind of like more up there in the you know technology tree.
Mhm.
Basically around different stars, like different colored stars, there are different kind of minerals that you were able to find,
Uh-huh.
right? And that's kind of like based on the formation of that star that makes up that system, you know?
Okay.
And it's like interesting. Like that's like it like actually teaches you real astronomy, you know,
Yeah.
how the universe was formed.
Mhm.
Right, bye, I love you.
Bye, I love you.
That's gonna fall in the road pretty soon. But we got the chainsaw because we're gonna get that tree out of the road today, and we're hoping to continue down the road and look for more list. We had some pretty interesting cloggies yesterday. Well, today I think we're gonna find more. First, we have to get a tree out of the way. And as we're driving now, we're doing some good inspections. Last night, it was dark. Now we have about 4 hours of daylight left, so couldn't come back last night with the chainsaw. It was just too far to drive back to my house and back. So here we are, next day. And let's wait for that tree. This is actually the blockage last night. Look at this. See how there's no snow? Look how clean the road is. No debris. The flooding over the road is what completely did it. Let me show you out the window. So right here, there's 2 3-foot culverts. And you see where the sand is here? This was level all the way across. Yep. Got rid of the blockage. It eroded it out of the way completely, which was awesome. Still doing good. We'll check on it again in the future. But look up there. We have more blockage that's going to come down. Look at the blockage up there if we zoom in. That's holding up another 3 feet. That's like a dam. Completely filled with stuff. Once that breaks, oh wow, there's probably, realistically, maybe 100 tons of rock. That's not even an exaggeration. Not even. That would this would be many, many tandem dump trucks full. The stream bed. That's very full. Wow. And that blockage there, I'm realizing now, is actually making the river back up. That's why it all goes through the woods. It makes it spill out of the riverbed way in advance. Yeah, these pipes are actually big. You didn't see last night's video. I'm gonna actually get out and show you. Some people might not believe how big these pipes actually are. Yeah, they are actually 3-foot pipes. See this? They're pretty big. And they were completely filled all the way up here with sand, level with this. See how that's all built up like a dam? That's making it spill, making it not even go to the culvert. So if road crews come out here with an excavator, they honestly should probably remove that, dig this out a bit, to prevent these issues from happening. This whole area flooded. And it destroyed the road a little bit. The asphalt's starting to fall apart, but road crews do plan on replacing this entire road at some point. It's on their bucket list. Last night, this was a plunge pool. We filled it in with all the sand we released. Now it's starting to dig it out again. Next big storm will push that and it'll empty the plunge pool again. So that got crisscrossed and all the sand built against it. Those are pretty big pipes. I had to walk through one of them and dislodge something. That was a little tight. Take some of this stuff out of the way with the river placed here. Everyone. So yesterday, this is another unblocking we did. See how the road's nice and clear? Water was going across and cleaned out the debris, and we basically stayed and watched all the erosion. So yeah, it's gonna get salt out. Here's some snow. Might have to start using 4-wheel drive. Oh, not yet. Coming up around these next couple corners. Now I'm like 4-wheel drive. We got a tree across the road. How far are we gonna be able to go until the snow gets deep where we get stuck like last night? Maybe not too much further. I'm just actually trying to see a very specific pipe that some people might recognize that we call a thirsty tree culvert, which is a tree that's probably blocking 2/3 of the pipe's diameter. I'm just curious about that because it's always blocked. We're gonna go check that one. Just gotta be careful now because it could become slippery. Last night I actually was bottoming out. Here we are. We gotta get the chainsaw out. So we'll be the first vehicle beyond this point, so we just gotta be careful. We just gotta get this tree out of the way. I could have probably winched it, but I'd rather do the chainsaw, so alright, I'm just gonna stop right here. Get the chainsaw out real fast, shut the car off. Alright everyone, let's start this chainsaw. Let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It says 3, but usually 6 or 7. Start some more reliably. how far we can get today. Alright, so we're gonna continue down the road now. I honestly think we might be able to get to the spot we got stuck last night. But I'm not gonna dare going up that hill again with 2 feet of snow. Because I don't want to lynch a bunch. But, as far as the eye can see, I see bare asphalt, so let's keep moving. Alright, we got that out of the way. That was a very heavy tree because that's hardwood. Most trees that I cut down are softwood, things like balsam fir and pine. But now we're gonna continue on down the road, see if we can find more. Maybe we'll find some blockages down here. See if we can find some more. Gotta take it really easy because this is kind of icy right here. There's another tree in the road, but we don't have to touch that. We can just go around it or maybe even over it. I think this might be the spot we want to get rid of, or it's coming right up. It looks familiar. Just gotta be careful because this is a little bit icy. You don't want to slide off. Just drive around. On the way back, I might want to investigate this area because it looks like water's been going across right here, meaning the culvert might be clogged. We'll take a look at that on the way back. It's not flooding, but maybe it was just over capacity. Because a lot of the culverts on this road are stupidly undersized. Yesterday on this road, we didn't really see any ice. We got stuck in deep snow, but this higher elevation must have had a freeze last night. We're definitely the first vehicle of the year down this road because of that tree. No other tracks here. Anything you might be seeing, they're old snowmobile tracks. But actually, right here is this is where I wanted to be. And it's very, very fun. This is the location of the Thirsty Tree Culvert. It's quite the adventure to get here. Yeah, look at the water going over the road. Yeah, the Thirsty Tree pipe is clogged. The main pipe that's supposed to be taking over for it is also blocked. Yeah, we're gonna get out and do the clogging right here. It's gonna be a double unclogging. There's 2 pipes there that need to be done.
Double unclogging. Hell yeah.
Scary as they're turning around. There's typically not any more blockages on this road. Nothing severe. Sometimes you see. I've got to remember it's been a very wet year. Consistent flooding over and over. See what the road looks like up on the snow. Yeah, I think we're gonna turn around. It's not that deep. It's just very slippery. I don't think I want to take the chance anymore. So I think I'm gonna turn around right here while I got a little bit of bare asphalt. See what's around the next corner. Actually, I think I'm gonna take a little walk. I think that there's something that kind of floats right up here around that corner. Yeah, I do think that's one of my next locations. Yeah, I don't want to take this anymore because it's kind of slippery with deep ditches. I'm gonna move over to the side just in case. I doubt anyone else is gonna do that here. Alright everyone, we left the truck a few hundred feet back, and these are some culverts I've definitely done in years past. We got this one here, which by the evidence looks like it's plugged. So the water's no longer going under the road. It's going down there and going to that pipe, which I've also found plugged in the past. This road's got major frost heaving. Look at this. These are rocks that the frost is trying to push up through the road. So we're gonna try this culvert now, which, see, wow, that's a very small, that looks like it's only a 12-inch metal pipe. Stupidly undersized. And on the other side, can we see it at all? Or is it gonna be a mystery we gotta find? Oh, no, there it is. And it's only half out of the water, so we can definitely get it flowing, but it won't be that much. Let's go ahead and do this really quickly. Alright everyone, here we go with this really small culvert. That was very quick, everyone. Got that one done. One good pull. Wow. Let's go take a look at what it looks like on the other side. Alright, here we are on the other what it looked like before. And here's what it looks like after. A whole bunch of good flow. Now we're gonna head down the road about 50 feet to another one that's often clogged. So by unclogging that, looks like most of the water is now being taken by it. Got a nice little waterfall. Look at all the leaves and debris up in the woods. Next storm it'll come right back down. Why do they use a 12-inch pipe? It's just cost, very cheap. Maybe job security for the DOT, maybe. That should have like a 3-foot, 4-foot pipe. A lot of these should. So now we just reduced almost all the water going down here. You see how the leaves way up here are wet? It's got like a fifth of the flow it had. So we're coming down here. Does not look like there's a blockage. I'm noticing the snow on the road isn't melted in a way. It doesn't look like it was flooded. I found this one flooded in the past. Maybe it was just neglected for years on end. But let's take a look. We definitely reduced the water going down to it. Yes, I do see stuff in front of it, but considering all the water's going through it, we're not going to increase the flow downstream at all. Maybe for a brief couple seconds, but that's about it. I can see grass pushed over right here. It was going down to yet another culvert. We should walk down and check that one in a moment. Let's take a look at this nice mossy stream. Very nice.
Very nice.
Let's get down and take a look at it. Yeah, I'm not even going to use camera number 2 on this. I don't think there's going to be a difference. Alright, well, let me get this out of the way real quick. All it takes is a couple of sticks, blocking it, leaves get packed against it. Alright everyone, it's nice and open, and we're getting a little bit of erosion now. Look at the sand, that little dam built up. We're even going to get a few bigger rocks that are tumbling towards it. Anytime you have a dam, even a dam that small, you're going to get sand built up against it. Just like those culverts we saw yesterday, where it started eroding literally 3 feet of sand. We probably flushed through in weight well over a couple tons last night through those pipes. It's going to run a little bit dirty for now. The flow probably increased for a few seconds. Flow is quickly back to normal. Let's take a walk down to the next pipe because obviously this pipe couldn't handle the flow either. You saw that you have a whole little creek and it's just going to that tiny pipe. That one there would look like a 24-inch pipe. Why so small? Never understand that. Just cheap. So here's another culvert pipe. Where is it? Okay, this one we might set up camera number 2, and yet again it goes down to another. Well, keep on checking until we get down to the bottom. Okay, this one looks like it might have a good blockage. Alright everyone, so we have a little bit of water to release. We have a pool of maybe a foot of water. It's going to be a quick release. There's really not much water continuing down here. None of this water is overflowing from the last pipe I unclogged. It's just groundwater. So it's going to keep trickling a little bit. But it looks like we have a whole log stuck in there. It's going to be like pulling out a plug. So we're about to unclog it. Just a moment. Yeah, there's a whole log in there. Let's see if I can just pull this whole thing out. It's going to be like a giant plug. Alright everyone, I made a noise for camera a while trickle within the next 30 seconds or so over on camera 2. Just drain it down. It's funny, that big log got stuck in there. Imagine the force. There must have been to drag that. So we'll take a little look at the evidence in just a moment. Alright, here we are on the other side. The initial blast is gone. It's just going to go back to a small trickle because it's only groundwater. Look at this interesting tree down there. It's like a little loop. It looks like it got partially uprooted. And you see how the end of it is kind of busted? It looks like maybe the trimming crew kind of uprooted it and it started growing. It's been trimmed and cut multiple times since then. Alright everyone, there's that big piece of wood I just pulled out of there. And we're right down the road, maybe 50 feet. Here's the next culvert. Just a couple sticks. You see, if this was left here neglected, it'll just keep filling it in. So we removed a couple sticks for preventative maintenance to make sure we don't come back here to a bigger blockage, which could wash out the road. This one actually looks like it's trying to eat away at the edge of the pipe. Nothing's going to happen on the other side of this one. Not even plugged. Let's check the next one here. I still don't see any evidence of it actually going over the road, but still a good amount of water was going down this ditch. You can see areas right here where water was dragging debris down into the ditch. The ditch just has so many sticks. And a lot of them have been there for years, you can tell. Poor road maintenance. And looks like we have a culvert here. Let's see what we got going on. We might unplug this one in just a moment. Actually, this flooded before it snowed. See all the clumps of debris here? At least that's what it looks like to me. Yeah, it was before it snowed. That snow right there is not packed at all. That would have got taken away. So this had a big flood at some point. But that was last year. And I don't think we're going to proceed any further on this road. I inspect this road every year and I've never found a problem beyond this except the one we got last night right where we got stuck. I don't think I've ever done this one before. I've never seen a plastic pipe on this road. Fortunately, that's what the DOT is most likely going to install in replacement of these metal ones. They don't do very well in the mountains with freeze-thaw cycles. But they install that. But hopefully they'll put some good metal in it. So I think I know where the pipe is. Let me quickly set the camera up. Then we'll head down the road and we'll revisit the Thurston tree culvert. It's gotta be where all the stuff is stuck. Yeah, here we are. There's just so many sticks now. I try to pick up some of them for preventative maintenance, but there's just too many. It's inevitable. It's gonna clog again. The pipes they're installing are just too small. And now everything feeding this is groundwater. So we just released a little bit of water built up, and it's quickly gonna start reducing the flow. Yeah, everything on this road, they should have much bigger pipes to handle this, so debris can just flow right onto the road freely. Here's the other side, flowing a bit better, much better than it was. You saw the initial blast, that was kind of awesome. Notice how the whole woods was piles of leaves wrapped around all the trees. There was a major flood. Can you see this? This whole thing, from that big tree down there, not this one, that one back there, all the way down here. Do you really think that that much water could fit through this 1 foot pipe? Maybe that's an 18-inch pipe. Still, there's so much water that comes through here at some point in the year. They should have like 2 3-foot pipes next to each other, maybe a 4-foot pipe. They need serious repairs on this road, but yet the DOT, they already put their plans. I made a video last year when they were inspecting this road. They spray painted on the road at every pipe whether or not they were going to replace it and what they were going to replace it with. The majority of pipes, they're going to replace it with the same exact thing. A lot of them, they're going to upgrade from 12 inches to 18 inches. That's just not going to cut it. You can see the evidence there that this thing is a torrential river going across the road at certain times of year. Yeah, you shouldn't be putting a little culvert like that in. It's just ridiculous. Alright everyone, back to the truck. We're gonna turn around, backtrack to the Thirsty Tree culvert. Alright everyone, we're back to the area of the Thirsty Tree culvert. We've made a lot of videos here over the past 4 years or so since we discovered it. This entire road has been very, very underwater. This whole area was clean of debris, was underwater. This was the edge of the flood where the clumps of debris are clumped up. So this little stream here, it took over this entire road. So everything from that stream is supposed to be coming out of here, but instead it was a little waterfall going down in there. I wish I'd see it during one of those times, but it's yet to ever happen. Down there, very deep water is going over this road. See, for the debris to get this high against this pole, there was at least 4 inches of water going over the top of this. So how does the DOT think replacing this 12-inch pipe with an 18-inch pipe is going to make any difference when you have that amount of water consistently happening when it rains? Well, this one's plugged, I believe, somewhere underneath this big clump. We'll dig it up and find it. But first, we're going to come down here and clog this next one. All this water is being diverted down here to what we call the Thirsty Tree culvert. Thirsty Tree culvert is at that tree right there. Looks like someone maybe hit it with their car. Now the water's going over the top of the road. Just a little trickle of water. But imagine when this water is going over the road over 4 inches deep. That would have been the sight to see. So, it's all coming down here. Looks like the entire ditch has silted up. Alright, it's down inside here. I got the big high boots on already. This is where it's coming out. Wow, there's extreme pressure coming out of this pipe. Look at it spraying. That thing's really spraying far. We gotta unclog the end right there a little bit first to see what we can get to come out of there. Alright everyone, here we are at the end of the Thirsty Tree culvert. Camera number 2 is now going. Now it's very possible that the blockage is right here because 2/3 of it are blocked. There might not be really any blockage at the entrance. Let's poke at this, get this out of here first. And it may release everything. Let's see. This looks like it's going to be a fun one. Under a lot of pressure. A lot of stuff in here. I wouldn't be surprised if it's really dark in the pipe. super packed. There's a lot of pressure in there. Is it pulsing or anything? Yeah, it's very packed. It's gonna be a bit. So I'm under a lot of pressure. Do it in my hand, might be the way to go. Very cold water. Oh, that's healthy. There we go. There we go. Whoa. Do it in my hand. Definitely loosened all of it up. This morning, once we get current, there's going to be an endless supply of leads coming in from the other side. I think I'm seeing the end in sight, maybe. Oh, there we go, I think. Whoa. Wow, there we go. Look at it go. Wow. It's like opening a fire hydrant. Wow. Look at that blast go. That's the best we've ever seen here. Let's go look at the entrance. Yeah, the entrance wasn't clogged at all. But we gotta keep an eye on it. It's sucking over so much debris. This would actually be a dangerous one to get down in front of. So we're gonna let that settle down for a minute. They got a big whirlpool at the other side. Take a look at that whirlpool. Not gonna last long. But look at the debris it's dragging over in the drainage ditch. Just give it a few minutes, and it's gonna stop blasting like that. The water's already completely off the road. Wow, the amount of leaves, look at this. I can catch it with my hand. That's awesome. You're never shutting that one off. safe, we can go to the other side and inspect where it's going in. Yep, that's already settling down. That was the best unclogging ever at the Thirsty Tree. So you gotta understand, from the end of the pipe all the way over to the start, that water pushing against it, that was being held there probably with hundreds of pounds of force. Maybe even more. Couldn't even budge it. But look at what we did downstream. Look at that. It's flooding as far as the eye can see. Awesome. Let's try to do some improvement at the start. Yeah, no longer dangerous at the beginning. Suction heavy is broken. There's nothing even here at the beginning. There's a lot of leads coming in here, yes, but absolutely nothing as far as pipe. There's just so many leads. When there's this much pressure going through it, it's kind of hard to get blocked. But during the times of low flow is when it gets really packed up like that, so it can't flow in other times. Yeah, this ditch has so many leads in it. This is why we unclogged this one first. We unclogged that one up there first. We have no pressure here to work with. We'll just send a little bit, pick it up a little bit. A lot of moss and stuff. One over here to make sure the other end doesn't get closed. Don't want to send any sticks or anything like that. Alright, left is blocked. Doing really good. This issue mainly happens because the pipe is just so small. And let's go look at the other side one more time. Just about settled down. Now this culvert will completely, 100% stop flowing once we get the other pipe. This water's not even supposed to be getting diverted here. It's supposed to be going through the other pipe. Nothing is blocked up, we're all good. We'll come take another look at this pipe once we get the other one done. Because this one will probably completely stop flowing. Alright everyone, let's go walk down the road to the other one. Here's what this location looked like before. And here's what it looks like after. But during its peak flow, that was awesome, the pressure coming out of there. Here's what the entrance looked like before. Here's what it looks like after. The entrance didn't even have a blockage. It was all being backed up because of that tree at the other end. That was a tremendous amount of pressure in the pipe. Now let's go up the road and see if we can stop all this water being diverted down here. So you see, from the water going over the road, we just completely made that stop. But it caused a bunch of damage to the edge of the road. Asphalt pieces all the way down through the woods. This was a raging river not too long ago. But now everything's nicely back down in the ditch. We're going to try to get all this water to stop. Now this one here has been crumpled for years by an excavator, but they're going to replace it. I thought they were going to replace it last year. They didn't, but we'll still have issues here if they stick with their plans of replacing these with still very undersized pipes. So let's get to work on this other one. Alright everyone, we're ready to start this one. Somewhere underneath the big pile of debris. Once we start making a lot of berkey, it might be a little bit difficult to see it. Alright everyone, we're going to try one more time. The water's so murky, you don't even know where the pipe is. This one doesn't have any marker. The ruts in the road don't even line up to it. Discovered in years past. I'm going to try this again and get my jacket off for now.